Hey, WFO Universe. Want something for free? Send a self-addressed stamped envelope with plenty of postage, and we'll load it up with free WFO stickers. That's right, I said free. Send your envelope, care of Castello Media /WFO stickers to P.O. Box 848353, Pembroke Pines, Florida 33084. Do it now.
We're going to get started with our post-race media availabilities. We are joined by Kevin Harvick, driver of the number 4, Busch Light Ford, one of our Championship 4 drivers. We will open up to questions.
Tried something different. Was that really, with the way the 19 and the 18 were, was that really your guys' only play there late in the run?
Yeah, well, we just needed to do something different. Those guys, they were so much better than us on the long run. Really our best chance was to have a caution there at the end, and never got one. So we just, did something different, hoping for a caution, and that's what you're supposed to do in those late situations like that. So just do the opposite of the cars you're trying to race, and just didn't work out.
Okay, Jenna. We need a microphone to Jenna.
Kevin, did you think you ever had anything for them at any point in this race?
On the restarts, I could do what I wanted to do, and I could hold them off for 15 or 20 laps right there. This race has come down to that every year, so you kind of play towards that, and they were quite a bit better than us on the long run, but we had a really good car for those first 15 or 20 laps on the restarts. It had a lot of speed. Just never got to try to race for it there with a caution.
What happened on that restart where the 19 seemed to get he seemed to run?
I just spun the tires and he ran in the back of me and just got jumbled up.
Did you? Is it fair to say that you were outnumbered from the get-go, or was it individual battles? Did you think you were going up against 3 guys?
Not really. You raced against it really turns into individual battles, and I would say that those guys are all racing for each other and trying to win a championship. So never really looked at it quite that way.
We're also joined by Martin Truex Jr., driver of the number 19, Bass Pro Shops Toyota. We'll continue with questions. Please raise your hand. Go back to Jacob.
Jacob Seelman, Speed Sport. Martin, you obviously had the little bit fresher tires than Kyle did coming down the stretch. I know traffic wasn't helpful, but did you feel like staying out and trying to use the fresher tires was going to be your way to get the win in the championship?
I didn't know at that point. I just did whatever Cole said. So, he does the strategy, I just drive. And obviously it didn't work out. We were quite a bit quicker at the end, but we're just too far back. So no chance.
Go to Jerry in the back.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheCharts.net. Martin, for you, how tough is this to swallow, knowing that you had the fastest car throughout the day and mistake, but you overcame that and then ran right there at second?
Yeah, ultimately it was the loss of track position that bit us. We restarted the third stage in third, and really wish I could have been either second or fourth. I got blitzed on the outside by the 20 and the 22 and a couple of those guys, and then I had to just run the crap out of my right front to get back by them, and I got tight on that run, and it took me forever to just get by a few cars. So I lost a bunch of ground on that run because of getting tight in traffic, and then just was too far back to make anything happen. The last run. So ultimately it came down to track position, and it felt like if I could have been up front and controlled the race, I could have drove away from them. And at the end we were quite a bit quicker, but it was too much of a gap. So. Yeah, it's part of the deal. You got to be perfect, and one mistake, probably cost us a shot at it. Yeah, these things don't come around every day, and second 2 years in a row definitely stings a little, but the fact that we have one is still really a big deal, and it's hard to win these things. So congrats to Kyle and the 18 guys, and it's a huge accomplishment just to get here, I feel like, and yes, sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. It just wasn't our day.
Go to Holly up front.
Holly Kane, the NASCAR wire service for Kevin and Martin. Were you at all surprised by the pace of the race tonight? I mean, there were huge gaps in between, and certainly, even between first and second and third, and how many cars, were on the lead lap, that kind of thing. Did the pace surprise you at all?
I mean, it didn't. My car didn't drive very well, and it didn't look like mine drove. It looked like mine drove a lot better than most of them. So, and there was you didn't see very many tire marks against the wall or anything like that. So I don't know. Just no cautions and nothing happening. So just when that happens, you just get spread out.
Yeah, I mean, I think the deal is with these cars, I mean, you start fighting handling problems and having to lift, and you just lose so much time to a guy that can stay in the throttle. So it's all momentum. It's not surprising that it got spread out as it did.
Do we have any additional questions for Kevin or Martin? Go to the far right.
Tom Bowles from Front Stretch for Martin. I just was wondering if switching the tires had ever happened to you before, or at any level. Is that something that's exceedingly rare?
Yeah, I've never had that happen. I've no. I mean, I don't even know what to say. No, it doesn't drive good with the left front and the right front, though. I can tell you that. It's very tight.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks. Holy shit.
We're now joined by Denny Hamlin, driver of the number 11 FedEx Express Toyota. We'll open up to questions. Please raise your hand. We'll get a wireless mic to you. We'll start up front here with Al.
Thank you. Al Pearson, Model Week. Denny, this was your fourth time here in a position to be the champion. You came in very confident, very self-assured. Is this the toughest of the four defeats because you came in so really ready?
I don't know. It's tough to say. I feel like I did all I could, so probably not. I mean, I don't think I could have done a better job. I don't think I could have. I didn't leave anything out there. So, for the first half of the race, we just weren't fast enough. We weren't handling very good, and all of a sudden it went nighttime, and we took off. And suddenly I perked up and got a little more, and was thinking that we got a chance. And then just didn't work out. I mean, I definitely, like I said, last week, that I was going to come in here and do the best I could and live with the result either way. I mean, either way. And so, I definitely feel like, I couldn't have done anything different. Certainly, we got a little aggressive there, and it cost us. But, I mean, he's also been really aggressive and won us races too. So it's just he's going for it. He saw an opportunity there to really add some speed to the car, and it just didn't work out.
Thank you.
Come over here. Is it Jacob? Yep.
Jacob Seelman, Speed Sport. Denny, knowing that you guys have been aggressive and obviously were tonight, is it a case where you would rather take the chance, be aggressive, and miss out like this than not have taken the chance and run second or third maybe?
No. We don't know. I mean, you always like to live to race another lap. Obviously, if you have to come back down pit road, it's pretty much over. But even, I think we had nailed with the other two guys running long on their strategy. We were going to be second, no matter what, and just a stone's throw from the 18. And then, so a caution can come out. We got the number one pit stall. We can beat them off pit lane. You can definitely have. There's always an opportunity. Until the checker falls, anything can happen. So I don't think it's a do or die moment, but I think it was an opportunity that Chris saw to. We came one lap earlier. We wanted to catch everyone off guard there. We did it. I didn't get to pit road clean because 34 kind of was coming off pit road, and I had to check up but whatnot. It didn't matter because we added too much tape anyway. But he was going for it, and I don't fault him for that because I've got really fast cars because he goes for it every single week.
We're going to go to Nate and then Jim.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. Denny, in 2014, when MJ was here, he was one of the first people to greet you. Do you expect Michael Jordan will have some things to say to you later? Is he hanging out with you, or are you still going to have a birthday celebration and all that?
Yeah, I mean, I told you all at the beginning of the week, we're going to celebrate our year. I mean, our year was fantastic in every way you can think of, and it just didn't pan out in one race in our favor. So, I don't know about those guys, and I talked to them briefly before the race, but I don't know. I just right now just got to gather all the thoughts and think about everything.
Go to Jim.
Jim Utter, Motorsport.com. Kind of along those lines, I know you want to be the one celebrating, but as an organization, considering everything that happened in the off season, the passing of JD, you started the season winning the 500. You guys end the year as an organization winning the championship. I mean, could you have a better kind of statement as an organization for what you've all had to go through?
Yeah, I mean, it's the 20 finished third, so dang. Yeah, I mean, it was just good. It was a great year. We won 19 races as an organization. That's the most in this era. So, I mean, that's a good thing in the world where we just keep getting more common with everything, right? Common pick guns, common this, common that. JGR continues to set itself apart, and that's the people and the effort that they're putting in. So, I think that it really says a lot about the organization, no doubt. So, I'm excited about next year. I really am. It's not like going to go through the off season, upset or sad. It's like I'm looking forward to having the momentum that we took through this year with a first-year crew chief, and we're gonna win a lot next year. So I just think that we'll have another opportunity. There's no question.
Denny, on your right, Jeffrey Miller, Athlon Sports. You kind of hit on the question I was going to go for there, but just your outlook going to next year off the heels of this compared to other times when you've come so close. Does it feel different? And
yeah, I mean, they all feel different. They are all different. They're in a different time. They're in a different circumstances. They are all so different. But certainly, I've had my fair share of being responsible for not winning at times, but I was confident I did everything that I possibly could. I kept us in the game when we were not very good at the beginning of the race. We stayed in it. Got a good restart, took the lead, and then just kind of hung with Kyle there. And I made a little mistake. I should have on that restart and gave the lead back to him. But they're all different. I don't know how it's going to be. I mean, I just am really excited with the group that we have, that what we can do next year and get another shot at it. I mean, it's definitely not a do or die situation. It's going to be okay, and we're going to be strong. And I guarantee you, it's going to motivate Chris even more than what he already is.
Do we have any additional questions for Denny? All right, Denny, thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
All right, we are going to continue with our post-race media availabilities here at Homestead Miami Speedway. We are starting to be joined by members of our championship and race-winning team, which was the number 18 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota. We have crew chief Adam Stevens here. This is Adam's second Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series championship, and he is one of 15 crew chiefs to have won multiple titles. We will open up to questions. We can start up here in the front with Holly, and then go to Jerry and Jim.
Holly Kane with the NASCAR Wire Service. Congratulations, Adam. I heard you say on TV that you felt some good juju this week. Could you just talk a little bit more about that? I mean, you felt good.
Yeah, I did. It felt a lot like 2015 to me, aside from the broken legs, obviously. But, in 2015, Kyle came back. We got off to a pretty hot start, won a few races. We won Indy, and then we didn't win again until we got to Homestead. But we weren't running poorly. We were competitive. We were leading laps. We were toward the front, and it takes a lot of things to go your way to win a race. And one of those things that has to go your way is you can't make any mistakes. And, this year it was kind of similar. We won some races early. We had tied a record for a top 10 streak or something, I'm told, early in the year, and had a couple races get away from us. But it wasn't because we weren't fast. It wasn't because we weren't prepared. They just didn't go our way. And there were some things that we could have done better and some circumstances that happened. It's just the way that racing is. So it felt a little bit like that. We had to claw our way through the rounds. And, we got in by virtue of points, which we've done 3 out of the 5 times we've made it. And, it's about showing up and being your best when it matters the most. And tonight it mattered the most.
We'll go to Jerry, Jim, and then Nate. Or Dustin, sorry.
Jerry Jordan, kickingthetires.net. What is it again? I mean, you guys, coming in here, not a lot of people were picking you guys to win this. So obviously, the sentimental favorite was Denny, and then Truex was on. Seemed to be kind of the overall here. But you pulled it off. You persevered. You won led the most laps in the race. You and Kyle seem to, even when there's issues on the track, come through. What is it about that chemistry there?
It's part of the sport. You have to be able to rely on each other and lean on each other, and through the good times and the bad times, we're able to do that. And these races are hard to win. There's not one of them that I've won that's been easy, and it takes the hard work and dedication of all 550 JGR employees. We don't employ all those people because they're not doing something that needs to be done. It takes every single one of them to come out here and win these races. And I think you've seen that with 19 wins that JGR had this year, that we're competitive. And through the dry spell that we had, we were competitive, and Kyle and I felt like, to come through here tonight, that it was going to take a near perfect night to come out here and win. And, we expressed those views to the pit crew and to each other and to the team. And it was about being your best when it matters the most. And it's a Game 7 situation, and you can't afford to be back on your heels or holding back. You have to run the race that's in front of you, and judge off what's the circumstances that everybody else is having. But it's just a tremendous belief in each other, that I know even through his worst day that he's doing everything he can do as a human. We're all human and we all make mistakes, but it's just a tremendous belief in each other, I think, and that trickles down to the rest of the team.
Go to Jim, Dustin, and then Jordan.
Jim Utter, motorsport.com. Kind of along those lines, there's been at times during these playoffs that Kyle seemed a bit subdued. At times he seems a little perplexed about how things have turned out on the track. He's not been the greatest fan of the aero package. Mm-hmm. I just wondered, coming into this weekend, did you feel that despite all that he really believed that you guys were capable of coming out like it did tonight?
Oh, sure. Kyle's never wavered on the fact that when we put the car in the truck that we have what we need to win. And that's what makes it frustrating, right? Because as a company, we are winning races, and as a team, we are elite, and we do prepare to win, and we do execute to win. So when you don't win, it's frustrating. But, I told somebody earlier today that there's not a number of wins that makes your season successful. What makes your season successful is winning the championship. Unless you win every single race, you left something on the table, because we have the tools at our disposal to go out and win on any given weekend. So you have to keep that kind of stuff in stride or in mind, that it's not always going to go your way. And it might go for a stretch your way and make it seem easy, kind of like it did at the beginning of the year. And it might go for a stretch and make it seem hard. And it's not the first time we've been through a stretch like this. I think 16 and into 17 maybe, we went an entire calendar year without winning a race. And it wasn't because we didn't know how to do our jobs. It wasn't because we gave up or weren't working hard enough. It was because things didn't go our way. And some of the things that didn't go our way were of our own doing, obviously, but some of them weren't. And That's the way it is in professional sports. You have to keep your eyes on the prize and establish what the goals are, and keep your nose to the grindstone and get after it.
Go to Dustin, Jordan, and Davey.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. I have two questions, Adam. Because of the performance lately coming in, a lot of people viewed you guys as an underdog. Now, whether you pay attention to that or not, I'm sure that it gets to the team or it gets to you guys. I'm curious, for a group that is often looked at as the favorites to win just about everywhere they go, the dynamic of suddenly being viewed as an underdog and how maybe you had to address that, because certainly that negative connotation could bleed down into the team. I'm curious how you handled that first.
Well, I don't really watch any shows or anything, so I didn't get that vibe. I could understand why people would have that vibe, certainly, because the other guys came in on wins and we came in on points. But you got to understand, too, that for my team and my guys and Kyle Busch driving, our goal is to win the championship. And when we shoved that car in the box last year at Homestead and we didn't perform the way we wanted to, our goal was to win the championship this year. And everything we did from the time that tailgate shut until we got down here to race this race was to win the championship. And to do that, we know for a fact there's going to be one team get in on points. There might be two teams. There could be three teams. It could be all four that make it through the final round into Homestead. And, we know there's going to be one, so you better be that guy, right? So the only material goal between the start of the season and the championship is to win the regular season points championship, to give yourself the most points and be the guy, right? We also won the most stages, which added to the points. And unless we won every single race, there's no amount of race wins that were going to be enough, because we have every tool at our disposal to win every single weekend. So did I feel like an underdog? No. Would I rather come on here on some kind of heater 5-race win streak? Sure. But I saw some stuff out of the team that told me that we were really getting our ducks in a row, and that we were performing at a high level. And I knew the guys were hungry. I knew Kyle was hungry. And I knew that we could have a mistake-free weekend, and that was going to be what it took.
Obviously, you haven't won the championship every year, so you put the car in the hauler without being the champion most of the year. So I know you talked about, and Kyle's talked about, just how well you didn't run last year. What was the different? Was it any different frustration from last year, waiting 365 days compared to any of the other times you didn't win the championship?
Sure. This is the Game 7 for us. And first off, you have to get to the Game 7. And second off, you want to be at your best. And last year we weren't at our best. I felt like not necessarily the car we brought, but some of the approach that we had coming into it wasn't right for my team, wasn't right for Kyle. And I wanted to remedy that situation in the best way possible, and that's to get here, number one, and number two, perform at a high level. And I feel like the shop worked really well with the teams and given us what we felt like we needed, and I think it showed tonight on the racetrack.
Before we continue with questions, we're now joined by Joe Gibbs, owner of the championship-winning team. This is Joe Gibbs Racing's 5th Monster Energy Series championship. Go to Jordan, and then Davey and Jenna.
Jordan Bianchi with The Athletic. This question's for Adam. Adam, have you, as a crew member or crew chief, ever seen tires placed on a car incorrectly? And how does that happen?
Quite honestly, I have not seen it with my own eyes. I've heard about it in my first years in the sport. I have not actually seen it. How it happens is a physical mistake. They get misplaced because they are marked clearly, and I don't know if they were mismarked or misplaced, but I'm not really sure how exactly that happens. I bet they could tell you, and I bet it'll never happen again.
We'll go to Davey, Jenna, and then Jacob.
Davey Siegel with Front Stretch. Questions for Adam. Sorry, over here. Kyle seemed pretty subdued over the radio once he crossed the finish line. You got a little bit more hyped up about it, but were you surprised that he was kind of that calm, and do you think there's maybe a reason for that?
No, I think it's just a matter of being that focused. And, we've been through this rodeo before, and like I said earlier, the goal is to win the championship. Not that achieving your goals is anticlimactic, because it's not, and it is a big deal. But I think the intense amount of focus and preparation and hard work that he put into it, it was probably more of a relief that it was over, aside from the fact that we actually accomplished our goal.
Go to Jenna, Jacob, and then Holly.
Jenna Fryer, AP. I think both of you might be able to answer this. Adam, last year the 18 team had, I think, 2 bad pit stops in the race. And then today, the 11 and the 19 had very bizarre things happen to them. Is it the importance of this event that all of a sudden makes these weird things happen? Are guys putting too much pressure on them, and that's what happens?
I really can't answer for the other guys, to be honest with you. But, the way you phrase that, in our situation, I didn't really visit with my guys and assess that situation because we are professionals. My guys don't need a rah-rah speech. They're all handpicked. They're all the best at what they do. And it's a matter of giving them the tools they need to do that. And one of the most important things you could do for the over-the-wall guys is continuously put them in high-pressure situations and to diffuse those high-pressure situations when they do get them in there. And I think as a team we do a good job of that. But also as a team, we won a lot of races last year, but there's no race that's a must-win until you get to the championship. And that was probably new for some of those guys. And especially when we weren't running that well, our car wasn't very good because of the setup that I put under it, not because of the job they were doing, and they were trying to make that difference up. And you have to realize as a competitor that there's only so much you can do. Bill Belichick, coach's favorite person, says that you got to do your job, and it's important to do your job. And all you can do is do your job. And operating at this level, you have to do what you're capable of, and there's really no more margin to do more. And a lot of mistakes are made when people try to do more.
I think the other thing I would say, this sport is extremely tough. It is human beings. No matter how much you train, we actually had races this year, and you guys probably remember, where all 4 cars had issues. And so it can happen. Tonight, it's going to be interesting for us to kind of go through this and see what exactly did happen, how we can keep it from happening again. That's what you'd like to do in pro sports. You'd like to make sure you don't make the same mistake twice. And so, but I think it's a part of, this is a long, tough, hard year. And when you get here, there is a lot of pressure. And it's human beings trying to get this done. And no matter how much you work on something, you could always have something be a mistake, really, is the way I look at it.
And as a follow-up, what was with your eye roll to Bill Belichick being your favorite person?
No, I was not. I'm fine.
We'll go to the far left to Jacob, and then Holly, and then Zach.
Jacob Seelman, Speed Sport. First, congratulations to both of you. I've got 2 for Joe. Over here. Yeah. First, you end it really felt coming full circle in a way tonight. You start the year with a 1-2-3 in the Daytona 500, end the year 1-2-3 tonight, and a championship by Kyle. What's the emotion like tonight, reflecting on everything, considering how you started the year?
I wanted to say a thanks to all the fans out there, too, and I hadn't had a chance to do that. I'm glad that I'm being able to do it tonight. When JD went to be with the Lord, January 11th, I got so many letters, so many prayer letters, so many little stories about JD, and I appreciate our fan base out there. Our racing family and our fans are special, and I just want to tell you, they really have meant a lot to me, Melissa, Jackson Miller, Jason Taylor, Coy, our entire family. And so I say a big thanks to all of them. It's been an emotional year for us. For me, it started with the Daytona 500. I think anybody that saw that would probably say there's no way that could happen by accident. I felt like God was kind of overseeing that. I think JD was there. And then it kind of continued the entire year for me. It's been emotional to think that you could win the number of races we won. It's just something that normally doesn't happen. I think he was a big part of it for us. I think everybody that worked at Joe Gibbs Racing, when JD left us, I think each and every one of them felt that so much. I think they devoted this year to him and kind of everything I know Coy and all of us did family-wise. And so I just want to say a thanks to everybody. You asked me, it was emotional all year. I felt like I could feel JD all year. And it's kind of hard to put in words, but it's been special and different, and it was great to finish it up the way we did tonight.
For you, knowing that you had three of your guys in it all night and knowing what JD did, not just for Denny's team, obviously, but for the entire organization, would the emotions have been any different, regardless of which one of the three of them, if any one of the three of them had won it?
I think you never know exactly, how things will play out. I know our preparation going in for all three cars was we went after it with everything we had. The crew chiefs, the drivers, everybody. It's so big for each person, for Martin and Cole and, for Bass Pro, and auto owners. And then you go with Denny and FedEx. There's so much to that. And Chris over there. I think everybody went after this as hard as we could. And you don't know what's going to happen. Who knew that we were going to have the things that happened during the race? But we're certainly thrilled for Kyle, for Mars, for Interstate Batteries, and for Toyota. It's a huge deal for us.
In a roundabout way, he was asking you who was your favorite.
Oh, here's my favorite.
Please the fifth.
I plead the fifth.
And as you'll notice, we've been joined by two-time Monster Energy Series champion Kyle Busch. We'll go to Zach, and then Christian, and then Lee.
Zach Tanzaretti, kickingties.net for Joe. Who was really the initial push to get Kyle a part of Joe Gibbs Racing, either between you or JD? I know Kyle mentioned that on NBC that he never asked you.
I think it was our entire organization, and we got a management group there that's been together for 20 years, and everybody kind of prayed about it and thought about it. We interviewed Kyle. Weren't sure we could talk him into coming our way, but I think everybody worked together on it, and certainly JD and Coy were a part of that, and our entire management group.
I must have somehow passed the interview.
You did. I could tell you a few things about that interview.
We'll save it for our retirement tour.
Yeah, let's don't divulge that.
Christian Coley, frontstretch.com over here. First off, congratulations to y'all on the championship victory. This question's for Kyle and Adam. Ryan Blaney spoke about it last week at Phoenix that stage points seem to be the pusher to put all these people, all the drivers in the championship for. Tonight you won the second and the final stage. How did you feel like winning all the stages that you did during the regular season and during the playoffs help you tonight excel?
Like I said earlier, the only thing we know for sure when the season starts is that one of us at least is going to get in on points. And you're a fool if you're not put yourself in position to be that guy. And as a team, our goal is to win the championship. Our goal next year is to win the championship. And we damn sure want to be the guy that has the most stage points and wins the regular season championship, so we have the most points in case we don't win one of those three races, that we're that guy. I think what you saw by the four cars that made it being the highest guys in stage points, well, three of them won a race, right? That's just by virtue of they're the four best cars that make it. And that's the cool thing about this system now is it rewards the guys that run the best all year. And that's why we were all nose to tail majority of the race, is because there was the four best teams competing for the championship.
Going to go to Lee, Jeff, and then Brian.
Lee Spencer, RacingBoys.com. It's been longer than 10 minutes. Kyle, are you enjoying this yet?
Yet or still? Yeah, no, it's good. It's I don't even know quite yet to put it all into perspective or all into words, but it certainly is an amazing opportunity, and it's pretty special. just with everything that Joe had talked about and had mentioned from the start of the season and losing JD and all that sort of stuff, but then to have the beginning part of the season that we had, and then to kind of lose whatever we lost through the last third, but to save the best for last and to come into here and score the win and score the championship is what it's all about. So can't thank this guy next to me enough with Adam and the team that he has has assembled, as well as the way that he leads and expects the best out of all of us.
And for Adam, after watching what happened to your competitors tonight and having won this championship before, does the winning team have to be flawless? I mean, does it have to just be sheer perfection? Because Truex came back, but I mean, the kind of track position he gave up was extreme.
Yeah, I think so. Like I said just a minute ago, you're going to have the four best teams here, barring some unusual circumstance. And to beat the four best teams, you have to be at your absolute best. And you can't play it too safe in trying to avoid mistakes that you're outside of the maximum performance in any single area. It took the pit crew they had the world record day on pit road tonight, even with adjustments. And it took the car being close, and we had to know that it was going to come to us when the sun went down, and it did. And it took Kyle on the track getting all he could get and not touching the fence and not making a mistake and not giving up too many spots on the restarts when it wasn't perfect. And, getting all he could get on pit road. We can't just be 10 miles an hour under pit road speed, and that's not going to work. You have to operate at the very, very high level, and you have to eliminate the mistakes. And it's a big stage. It's a Game 7 moment, as I mentioned earlier, and you have to be at your best when it matters the most.
Go to Jeff, Brian, and then Jerry.
Jeff Gluck from The Athletic. Kyle, my question is sort of following up on Lee's because, you came over the radio and it was so sort of like subdued. You're just like, awesome, guys, we did it. And, it's sort of, you weren't going crazy. You're not jumping up and down. You're not. So what is it? Is it shock or you're stunned or something that this actually fell your way? Like, what did you experience that made you react that way, I guess?
Yeah, I don't know. Just, I'm not exactly sure. I kind of probably don't remember much of it already, but I do remember taking the white flag and crossing underneath that, and just I had some tears rolling down my eyes for the last lap, and was just like, "Come on, man, we still got to finish this damn thing. Don't be such a sis." But how was my last lap time? I don't even know.
I quit looking about 10 to go.
Okay, so hopefully it was decent. I don't know. We had a good lead to the guys behind us, but overall, just emotions were starting to set in. I just probably didn't know where the hell my mind was at, but knew we had won and we had won big, and was just kind of being a bit more subdued about it.
Did you do your vow?
I did not.
Why not?
There wasn't any room. Did you see the crowd out there? There was people everywhere. So, in that moment, you kind of forget. You even forget you win the race. As I was doing the victory celebration, doing the lap around with Brexton, that was really awesome, by the way. I was coming into victory lane, and they were there with the checker flag, and I was like, oh, yeah. You forget, you win the race, so it's just that crazy. And, I forgot to do a bow. It's all good. I think Rowdy Nation will forgive me.
Go to the far right to Brian, then Jerry, then Greg.
Brian Mapes of Xfinity Racing. Back in 2015, as the laps were clicking down, you were singing a song in your head from Brexton's playlist, I guess. Was there a song you were singing in your head this year, now that Brexton's 4 years older? Maybe something from Frozen?
It was ROFLMAO. I'm in Miami. Yeah, that one. No, actually, I wasn't. I was just focused on hitting my marks. Like every once in a while, I'd throw it off into one, and it would slip, and I'd be like, "Oh," So with racing around the lap cars and stuff like that, and I think it was like the last. Who did I pass? Johnson, maybe. He cut me a lot of slack. Brad also cut me a lot of slack. I slid up in front of him because I just lost the front end of the race car being in traffic with him. And then they cut me some slack on the exits, and then you get off into the next corner, and it's just like, then it turns again, and you're like, damn, this thing is all over the place. So just trying to be focused on the lines and where the grip was at and where our car was running the best, and just doing the right job.
Go to Jerry, Greg, and then Dustin.
Jerry Jordan, kickingthetires.net. So Lee asked one of the questions I was going to ask, so I'll give my backup. How do you celebrate a second championship differently than you celebrate your first?
Well, we don't get to go to my hometown of Vegas this time around, so we go to Nashville. So there's going to be some differences in Nashville, that's for sure. So hopefully somebody's got a hell of a plan, or they're orchestrating one at the moment. But found a few friends this year in the country music biz, so maybe we'll give them a call and see if they can't come on out, and we could have a hell of a party and put on a good show. You're buying, right? Vegas was good. Vegas was really good. With the talent pool, with the banquet being so close to the race weekend, your talent pool of people that are available is kind of limited. So we'll have to see who's limited. I don't know. I'll make some calls.
Greg Engel Auto Week, congratulations. I was watching, I think, the moments that you were celebrating as a dad, taking your son in that ride. He's going to remember that for as long as he lives. Talk about the emotions of that and being able to provide those memories for your son. And also, on another note, have you thought of boat names yet?
So Brexton actually came to me. I don't know if he got the idea from somebody else or if he just remembered it from Keelan doing it with Kevin, and said, "Dad, can I go for the ride with you?" And I was like, "Oh hell, like I'm good with it." So we asked the NASCAR guys, and they radioed up to the tower, and we got approval to be able to do that. So that was really, really special for Brexton, for me and Brexton, to be able to take in that moment and go for a ride around the track. And at first he was sitting down on the floorboard, and I was like, "You can't see anything, man." So I was like, stand up a little bit. So he then was kneeling and holding onto the roll bar and stuff, and that was really, really cool. Got him a chance to go around, and I was smiling the whole damn time and looking over at him and making sure that he was having fun, enjoying in that moment. And we were waving at the camera that was in there and stuff. So it was a lot of fun, and thankful for that. Boat names? Yeah.
You're going to give that to Adam, aren't you?
That's what I told him. I told him that he's supposed to have this one because I sold the first one. Shh, don't say that. Boat names.
I've always found it's better to have a friend with a boat than to actually be the guy with the boat.
Yeah. I've heard that too. Yeah, there's the 3 Fs that you don't ever want to own. I guess the first name that came to my mind should have been 18. Right? I won the championship in 19. Should have been 18. Okay. Glad that worked well.
We'll go to Dustin, Kelly, and then Jacob.
Yeah.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. I want to ask you a couple things. Kyle, just because you referenced that, I know you've talked about just not being able to perform as well here last year, and for an athlete to only get so many opportunities at this, what was the wait like, or all the things that took place in the 365 days since, because you just don't get these opportunities?
Yeah, I mean, fortunately for us and our group, we get these opportunities every year, 5 in a row. But what I think is what Adam said best is earlier, that we prepare as hard as we can prepare and do everything that we know how to do and be ready for this moment. And sometimes you just kind of miss it somewhere, some way, somehow. And other times you're like we were in 15 or this year. Carl was in 16. We were in 17. It just didn't come to us, But overall, we've been pretty stout here with fast race cars, and so I thank Adam for that. And you come in here, and when we first unloaded off the truck, I was really loose, kind of like we were here last year on entry especially, and I was like, oh, hell, here we go. And then we worked on it. Adam did some really good adjustments to it early on in practice to get us to the tight side, and where I was really, really good at being able to rip it off the wall and had good rear security. And I was like, okay, now we're tight, but we found both sides of it. So at least we're not stuck with what we had like we did last year. So that was the defining moment for me of knowing that we had something for them, and we just had to go do our jobs and race it out.
And I'm also curious, as an athlete, you have performed so well, and obviously a lot of people feel that you're the most talented driver and laud you for your success, and obviously worthy so. But when you come into an event like this and you start to view you as an underdog as opposed to how great you are or how great you can be, I'm curious what that is like for an athlete, because whether you want to tune that out or not, I'm sure it's there, and you can't necessarily ignore it. I'm just kind of wondering how you deal with it, channel it. Does it help, hurt, or how you are able to flush it away?
Yeah, I try to tune a lot of things out. When I come to the racetracks, people look at me certain ways that Brad probably said it best, that I'm an ASS, right? But that's just because I try to focus on what I got to do. And this guy here, and then the 15, this guy here also. But the 15 or 16 guys on my team are the most important people to me Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And so I know what work and everything that I do to prepare throughout the year, throughout the weeks, throughout the year, that gets us to these opportunities. And, I just try to focus on my group and who I am around those guys, and they know about my focus and my determination and my work that gets us to these situations. And so, not a lot of people outside my circle understand exactly who I am, because I just try to flush it out.
Go to Kelly, Jacob, and then Bob.
Any more for these guys? You want to do that?
We can do that. Any more for Coach or Adam? All right. Well, gentlemen, congratulations. You've been freed.
You got it, man.
Yeah, man. I know how you work.
Kelly Crandall, Racer.com. Kyle, you've mentioned it before. You mentioned it a little earlier. You've talked about Adam, how important he's been. But in 5 years, the numbers are just incredible. 27 wins, now 2 championships that he's helped guide you to. Could you have comprehended when the decision was made to change crew chiefs that in a 5-year span he would be this influential on your career?
Probably not. Obviously, anytime you make a change like that, you hope for better. You hope for more success and whatever. But certainly, I do wish that I would have had more success with prior leadership. I feel like I missed out in 18 with Addington for sure. I feel like I think it was 13 with Dave. That coulda, shoulda, woulda. So would things have been different if I would have won with either one of those guys? I'm not sure, but things work out the way they do for whatever reason sometimes, and you just got to live in the moment. And when Adam was slated to come on over and be my crew chief, I was not apprehensive about it, but him and I had worked together on the Xfinity side and grown a relationship for a couple of years, and we had success over there. And sometimes that success works, and sometimes it doesn't. You just never know. But obviously, I'm very fortunate and thankful for Coach and making that decision and putting us together and having us to have the success we've had has been really, really good. Could it have been better? Sure. Could it have been worse? Probably. But it's good right now.
Go to the far left to Jacob and then Bob.
Jacob Seelman, Speed Sport. Kyle, to follow a little bit on what I asked Joe earlier, and you started to tell the story, but talk a little bit about JD and the impact he had definitely during the early part of your career, because I know that's one of the big things. We heard about it from Denny throughout this, but maybe not as much from your perspective.
Yeah, look, JD is he's an honorable man and honorable father and one that respects the Lord and had lived that way and showed people how to do that. And a lot could be learned from those type of individuals, and I think that comes from Joe, but also JD and who he was and the relationship with Melissa and the kids. And being around the kids, I've been with them now 12 years, so some of them, man, they were 6. I think Jackson was 6 or 7 when I came over. And there were times, it's funny, there were times when we were at the races and Jackson was there and he would come on the pit box and sit on Samantha's lap. Like, that's probably a little weird now, but back then it was cute. So it's just the relationship, though, with the family has been really, really cool. JD was, it's funny, I've said this before, I'm not sure I've ever really been yelled at, but I have been sternly talked to. And JD was the same way. But in the early years and coming over to Joe Gibbs Racing, JD and I knew each other a little bit from Truck Series stuff. Coy and I knew each other better because Coy was there when I was there. And so I've always respected the family and have given them everything that I've got and have appreciated what they've given me.
Go to Bob.
Bob Pockris, Fox Sports. Did you know you had a 10-second lead after Harvick pitted? And if so, what's going through your head if you have a 10-second lead?
I knew I had a 9.7-second lead, I think they were telling me over the radio. So, yeah, call it 10, if you will. And I was just trying to keep it somewhere around there. I was hoping that my car was fast enough. The way that it felt, it started to kind of feel a little different towards the end of the race and just didn't quite, especially the end of runs. Like in the beginning of the runs, car felt great. Like when we put tires on that thing, I was like, oh, hell yeah, we're fast. And was just hoping that others weren't faster and that they weren't just running me down for some crazy reason. So I knew the 19 had speed all night, and obviously they showed that. They came from the farthest back probably there at the end to run runner-up. But I was just trying to continue to hit my marks and do the things that I've been doing all night long and not necessarily keep the gap big, but just underdrive the tire all the time to make sure that nothing crazy or stupid would happen.
Do we have any final questions for the champ?
The caution, yeah. I mean, that always crosses through your mind. So, like, as the run was going, I kept thinking in my mind, I'm like, okay, that's 5 laps in, that's 10 laps in. How's my car feeling? How's it driving? Because as soon as that caution would have flown, I would have been right on the radio talking to Adam, like, okay, this is what I need because I need to be better on fire off here, whatever, in determining how many laps were left and what the restart was going to be. So I was constantly thinking and being ready.
Going to go back to Jeff and Dustin.
I mean, along that same lines, it's just like, it feels like this sort of doesn't normally happen to you. Like, when you have a stretch where you're not winning or something, it's not like stuff falls into your lap, where if you have a dominant season or a dominant stretch, things might get taken away from you, and you're like, oh, man, I had a good playoffs, and something happened and we didn't win. But to be sort of just so-so by your own standards and not win the whole playoffs, and then you win the championship, like, does that feel weird to you? Or does that surprise you?
When was media day? Thursday. I think one of my lines was, "It's not what have you done for me lately. It's what can you do for me now." Right. So I think that that's true in itself. With all these guys that were fast, Denny being fast, I knew Denny was going to be good here. He's been good here. He's won here in 13. He was fast here a couple of years ago, I think, too. And Truex is always fast, always a force to be reckoned with, and same with Harvick, But we knew the 4 was going to come here with their stuff that they've been fast with all year long, and we just didn't think that was going to end up being the ticket on the long runs. The short run, for sure, he was fast on the short run, right? And so, again, to Bob's question, was if a caution come out and Harvick and myself come off pit road 1 and 2 with 10 laps to go, it was going to be damn hard to win. So you're right. It worked our way. It was long runs to the end. It was 50-something laps on both the last set of tires, and so that played right to us and how good we were.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Did you get to throw Brexton eventually at some?
Damn it! No, I didn't do that either. Everybody's like, do this, do this, do this, do that. So, anyways, we're gonna go we got more photos and stuff to take, so we'll do it. I got an idea already. Thanks.
What is a moment like that for a dad to do that with a son in a situation like that? That's something most people are never going to experience.
It's really cool. I was actually, when we were on the first stage, I was thinking about doing it there, and I was like, it's kind of small. There's a few people up here. No, I don't want to do it here. And then when we were on the next stage, we kind of got ushered out of there pretty quick, so I didn't think of it. But I asked him if he wanted to sit in the trophy for the photos, and he was like, Dad, I'm too big for that. So I was like, okay, let him do what he wants to do. It's fine. Huh? No, when we were out on the racetrack, right when I got out of the car, he was like, Dad, does this mean you can throw me because you won the race? So I was like, yep, that's right, we will. So anyways, what'd you say? What was your question? You good?
Yeah, no, I just asked if you got that. Just the opportunity to follow, being able to do that with the son.
Yeah, so just having him here and having him 4.5 now, and I hope that, I can't remember my memories of how old I was when I started remembering things. I was never mind. So I hope that he can remember these moments. And obviously, TV's really good these days. There's a lot of great HD coverage, and so it's pretty clear the opportunities of him being on television and being him in the car with me and that sort of stuff is special.
I'm going to go to Jordan, Mike, and then Aaron.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. Were you informed of what happened to Martin Truex Jr. on pit road? And if so, what was your reaction?
I was not, no. I found out on the stage afterwards. Did they put the lefts on the rights or something? On the front? Yeah, I heard that on the stage, and I was like, man, it's crazy. Just how things can happen sometimes, I mean, it's just an honest mistake, I'm sure. And so I didn't know that's why he had to come back. I just figured it was a loose wheel. I mean, same thing, right? If it was a loose wheel, he had to do the same thing. So I just figured it was a loose wheel. But when he marched back through the field, I was like, damn, he's fast. And then, for him to come out second of having that happen to those guys, it was they were quick. I'm sure they're going to look at this as one that got away.
Mike Massey with Front Stretch. So after Martinsville, Eric Almirola said he was going to make the last 3 weeks hell for you. Unless he has a strange idea what hell is, I don't think he did that. So I'm just wondering, did you patch things up with him prior to the last couple of weeks?
I did not. No, I didn't reach out to him or anything. I just thought that it was a Martinsville thing. I spent time and laps of working him over and trying to get by him cleanly, and I did that. And then first time he got back to me on the next run, he just ran over me, and I crowded him, and we got together. So that's Martinsville. That stuff happens. But there was a couple moments where I figured he would maybe try something or whatever. But Texas, we saw each other for like 5 laps, and then I never saw him again because he drove away. And then Phoenix, I don't remember. I think we were around him a couple times, and I don't remember what was happening. And then tonight, I had to put him a lap down there towards the end of the race, and he was fine. And I think that's respect, for one, because even other guys that I had issues with, Bubba waved me by, Stenhouse waved me by, like these guys, that you would think are going to make your life hell, whatever. In the championship race, in that moment, they know what that means, and I would do the same. Larson was probably my biggest pain in the neck tonight, but I had fun racing with him. I thought that was pretty cool. This place is really racy. It's a great place to do that. Myself and Harvick had a lot of fun as well too. That was, I'm sure you know what I thought about in that moment too? It was funny. Was it 2010 where he flat out wrecked me on the front stretch and was like, that kid was running all over like a clown all day or whatever. Yeah. So I thought about that. I was like, looks a little eerie, doesn't it, buddy? But times are different, and things are different between he and I. So it was pretty cool. I had a smile on my face once I marched away.
Aaron Bearden, Motorsports Beat. Kyle, this is your second championship, first 2-time champion we've had since Jimmy and Tony, and it pushes you past guys like your brother Kurt and Brad and Matt Kenseth. So does that hold any significance to you, especially in the position you're in, win-wise, where you're already kind of among them? Does that second title hold any extra weight for you?
I guess. I would like to think that anytime you're able to win more races and more championships, that it helps your stature and helps you become I don't know what it helps you become. I guess more successful, but it's all about just doing our job. To me, I would love to be sitting here right now talking about 8. I've been in the sport for 14, 15 years, whatever this season is for me, and so we're only talking about 2. So it's nice to have the success that we have. Take it when you get it, but there's certainly a few missed opportunities for sure.
Go to Jenna.
Kyle, what do you make of JGR winning 19 of 36 races and in a year with a new rules package and all the other things that were thrown at you? How does one organization set the record for wins?
Hell yeah. Good for us. Great for us. Everybody, Joe is a phenomenal leader. I think Joe said it too. I'm not so sure that everybody just didn't dig in as hard as they could. And, when it's 4 o'clock and it's time to go home, they don't leave until 4:20, or 4:30 or whatever it might be. So I think that I think it's the group of drivers as well too, though. When we had our team meetings with myself and Kenseth and Carl and Denny, they knew the group of drivers that we had, and if we weren't successful, they knew it was because the stuff that we're driving around the racetrack. And so I think the same is to be said for the Kyle, the Denny, and the Martin, and Jones too. Because the better you make the stuff for us 3, the better it's going to make Jones as well too. And I think that we just all have really good communication, and the way that we all share. And I don't know how everything went this morning, with last adjustments and whatever, if all that was shared or not, but. We had our team meetings the same as we had all year long this weekend.
I think Jenna had a follow-up.
What do you think it means to Joe? You guys opened the season 1-2-3 at Daytona, and you closed the season 1-2-3 at Homestead. I mean, it seems.
Did we finish 1-2-3?
Yeah, Jones was 3rd. Yeah.
Oh, Jones was 3rd. Cool.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
So I mean,
'cause I knew Denny just passed me to get his lap back at the end, so I didn't know that where he was at.
I mean, that's pretty unusual,
Yeah.
So do you think that means something for Joe in this year that?
Well, damn sure better. What else can we do for the guy? I mean, damn. But that shows. That man is relentless, and he is at the shop, whether it's 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, every single morning. He is there, and he works, and this is his life. This is what he does. Same as me, this is what he does, and I think that's why we respect each other so much and we get along so well. And what we do is if he's at home and in North Carolina, he's at the shop, and if he's got to go somewhere and get on an airplane and fly somewhere, it's for his race team or his family. There's certain times where it's for his family, of course, too, but, that's just that's how a leader is, and everybody follows the leader that you have from the top.
Go to Michelle.
Michelle Martinelli, USA Today. How does the feeling of winning 2 championships compare to 1? Is it similarly satisfying, or more so, or less so?
This one feels like the first, like today, but like getting into next year, being 2-time is going to be cool. I'm certainly looking forward to that, and I'm just, again, I can say it over and over again, but it's just about the people that you're around and the people that you work with, and certainly everybody at Toyota and TRD and Joe Gibbs Racing and TRD, Costa Mesa, Salisbury, everybody that does everything for us, and whether it's David Wilson or Graves, they're in our team meetings as well too, and so it's important to all of us to be successful. And for me to have a second championship, I mean, it wouldn't have mattered if Denny won his first or Martin won his second. It's the collective team in what we do and who we are.
Go to the far right to Davey.
Davey Siegel with Front Stretch. Kyle, Adam said that this year and tonight, kind of culminating with it, kind of reminded him of the 2015 season, minus the broken leg, of course.
Yeah.
Did
I won a full-time championship. What do you know?
Did this year?
So does anybody know what the score would be with the old Winston Cup points? I won the old way too. Thank you.
Did tonight remind you, and this year as a whole remind you any of 2015 at all, like Adam said?
Yeah, no, it did. It certainly reminded me. We won, I think the Brickyard maybe was our last win, or something after that was our last win in 15, and then we won Homestead. And then this year kind of the same thing, Pocono, and then all the way to Homestead. So looked awfully familiar. Man, it sucks when y'all want to talk about 21 race winless streaks. Damn. Sorry. But, well, it's 0 right now, and hopefully it's 0 again after we run the next race. That's all I got to say, because that one's a big one that I have yet to get.
Go to Dan.
Dan Gelson, AP. Kyle, do you feel like this might boost your popularity? Did you get a sense?
I don't need to be any more popular. I don't. No.
Why?
But anyway. Oh, I am by far most popular. I'm just not going to win the award. What else you got?
That's pretty good.
Okay.
On that.
All right.
Well, on that note, congratulations.
Oh,
Kyle.
cool. Right on. All right.
Enjoy your celebration.
Hey, Rowdy Nation, be sure to vote. There's still votes are open for Most Popular Driver Award, so we'll take all we can get, all right?